My name is Karin, and this is my story. I grew up in church. My rebellion from God lasted 2 whole days in junior high. I met my husband in church, but I thought he was a Christian, but it wasn't until we came to CedarCreek that I realized that he didn't understand that personal relationship with Christ, and it wasn't until CedarCreek that he accepted Christ as his Lord and Savior. We've been attending the Creek for 22 years now, and it's been a continued place for me to learn and grow in my relationship with God throughout my adult life. In 2013 and 14, my kids, who we raised without incident, were in college, had some major health issues. One struggled with mental health, checked himself more than once into a hospital, the psych ward. My other son had tachycardia, which is a rapid heart rate. His resting heart rate was 122. We left for Cincinnati and found out the insurance was not going to cover his surgery for the second one. Now my children are happy and healthy, and it was through that experience that I decided I was going to trust God on the front end, not always after the difficulty. My kids were off in college in Cincinnati and Columbus, and I loved parking the car for the weekend and being able to walk to restaurants, walk on campus, go to events, and so forth. I was reflecting on what is it that I want, for the end of this last third of my life, and I decided that I wanted to buy a building in downtown Toledo and walk to the library and go to a Mud Hens game, to the Erie Street Market and restaurants. I wanted that healthy walking lifestyle for me. So I started looking at buildings, and my husband went and played golf. And then he knew that I was completely serious about doing this, so he started coming with me. We found one. When it became an event that could really happen, like we could actually do this, I got scared. I would remind myself that God has not given me a spirit of fear, but of love, power, and a sound mind. Most people my age regret what they don't do, not what they do. So we moved forward with 2 business partners. We bought a building, and now we're commercial real estate owners. You heard me say we were music teachers, right? So we were completely out of our element, and I have never been so dependent on God. A member of our life group was a commercial real estate appraiser. How helpful was that? God has continued to send us people to help us and guide us through this adventure. One of our spaces, our commercial spaces, didn't have HVAC, and a nonprofit wanted that space, and they got a grant and were able to help with that. God has commissioned us to care for this building. And during COVID, we've gotten not 1, not 2, but 3 new commercial tenants, which is amazing. I just wanted to live downtown, and I wanted that experience. And when we would pray for that, Tom would say, and be good for the community and help the neighborhood. And I was like, yeah, I don't know what that looks like, but now I do. God knew. Just left leased a second space to a nonprofit that provides housing for people. For this adventure, this is what I say to myself on a daily basis. Let the size of my God determine the size of my goal. Faith precedes the miracle. Your belief unleashes the power of God. God's dream for my life is bigger than my dream. I've trusted God on the front end. Believe me, it hasn't always been easy, and it's had its difficulties. But I would have missed so much had I not taken this adventure with God, and I'm just so grateful. Take your adventure with God.